Sure Psychology is a new and innovative social enterprise. We are a group of health professionals, mainly psychologists, but also we have speech and language, occupational therapists, play therapists, counsellors, and our whole aim is to improve access to mental health treatment, but also neurodiversity assessments, so that people can come here and know that they're getting really good quality psychological therapies, other therapies and neurodiversity assessments, but that the surplus that is generated from all of that kind of income then goes back into the community to work with our charity partners. Yeah, so the aim is really about bridging the gap. So, currently as it stands, we obviously have our fantastic NHS that has lots and lots and lots of challenges. And we also have private therapy that you can go to if you can afford private therapy or private neurodiversity assessments. But there's nothing really in the middle. So the idea is that we are in the middle, we operate like a private clinic, but that everything that we generate that is surplus goes back into the community, for people that are most likely to fall between the cracks of existing service delivery. So they're most likely to struggle to get the help that they need. So many different reasons, some personal, some professional. I've been a clinical psychologist for a fair while. Before that, my professional experience was actually in government. I was a government social researcher. So for a very long time, I have looked at the multiple inequalities in society. And that's part of the reason that we're doing this, mainly because throughout my work as a clinical psychologist in the NHS, but also otherwise, you see how many people really do fall between the cracks and how many people really do struggle to get the help that they need. And I think that's getting more and more challenging. So the idea was having something that is so new and different that might meet in the middle, and we'll see how that goes. And I was well aware of our two amazing charity partners, Multicultural Family Base, who are just around the corner, and Crew 2000, and just the very people they work with means that those specific groups do really struggle to get the help they need. So that's really the main aim. I mean, it seems to make sense, doesn't it? People can get high quality psychological treatment and other therapies and neurodiversity assessments they can trust, but they also know that they're doing good. So Sure Psychology is trying to help lots of different people, really. So mainly knowing that if you want to pay privately, you're coming to a place that is a safe place. We have got a gorgeous clinic overlooking the Water of Leith. You feel relaxed when you come in, and we're not stuffy. We're really quite personable, and you know that you're going to feel comfortable when you come here. But at the same time that you know that you're in a really safe pair of hands. We are all very experienced clinicians. We work according to an evidence base. And we've also obviously got our counsellors and speech and language and occupational therapy. And you know that what you're going to get is what you need. And we won't be giving you rushed assessments or rushed appointments. It will really be about making sure we identify what you need according to your goals and making sure that you get the best treatment that you can. And that especially goes for neurodiversity assessments. Like, we know at the moment that there's a real variety of quality that goes into neurodiversity assessments. And we also know there's a lot of misunderstanding around those assessments and how they're conducted. So by coming here, we meet the NICE guidelines, but we also meet the new ACAS guidelines, which means that you know that it's going to be a good assessment and you're going to get the help and advice that you need. So we offer quite a few different services. The main ones that I've spoken about before are obviously our one-to-one psychological therapies. So we've got some awesome therapists, really lucky, it's a lovely community here. We offer everything from EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, a bit of a mouthful. And we also offer compassion-focused therapy and ACT and CBT. So lots and lots of different therapies that are good quality, as well as, like I said, the counselling and amazing speech and language therapist that works with vocals, occupational therapist. So we've got all of that individual input. And then we've obviously got our neurodiversity assessments as well, which are a bit different. We're doing them a bit differently. So initially someone would come in for a screening appointment, and then we can help and advise them on what would be the best next step for them, which seems a bit fairer financially. And we do both, this is for adults and children and young people. We also do combined pathways. So you can have an ADHD and an ASD assessment combined if you're an adult or a child and young person. And that's mainly because we know there's a really high prevalence, people that have ADHD, there's also a sort of 50 to 70% likelihood they might have autism. So it makes sense to be looking at these, looking at things together. But the other bits of work we do, which I've probably spoken less to you about, is about training and consultancy. We're lucky enough to have Ellie Caldwell, so she's our sort of head of corporate services. So we're doing a lot with businesses and organisations. So all around stress management, mental health, looking after yourself, individual executive coaching, better looking after the people that work for you, and better looking after the people that use your services, especially with like neurodiversity as well, and really harnessing the positives there are and the strengths that neurodivergent individuals have. So lots in that area as well, and also lots in the area of trauma. That's definitely one of my areas that I'm really passionate about, and making services more trauma informed so that survivors of trauma or people that have been through difficult things are more likely to have access to services, and working with services to help them grow in a way that means they can work better with people that have been through difficult things. It is so difficult at the moment for people with neurodiversity assessments. We do know that it can be difficult at the moment and a long wait to get those in the NHS. I don't think anyone could argue with that. And it seems so unfair in lots of ways that lots of people are having, or feel that they are having, to go private. I think it's all about doing what is right for you. Not everyone wants, it's not about having a diagnosis or labelling somebody. It's about having a better understanding of yourself. And usually people that have ADHD or autism, or both, which we know you can have, only the last 10 years we've known that both can exist at the same time, or at least that's been recognised. It's really a way of understanding yourself better and being able to give your life a whole new lens. Like, why am I that way, and why have these things happened? And helping you get the support that you need. And at least with us as well, you know that when you are doing those assessments, that it's being done by the right people, and that also the monies that are generated, because we're a social enterprise, go back into the community to help people that also have those challenges in getting those assessments. I suppose the important thing that I wanted to say is it's not solely about neurodiversity assessments. I think generally what ends up happening is there's not a lot of post-diagnostic support out there. So it's, how do you feel with you do get that diagnosis, and how do you unpick your strengths and some of the things that you've struggled with, and how do you handle those? So we offer CBT for ADHD, but we also have our offerings for parents of autistic children. Our Q's group is awesome. It's evidence-based, from Newcastle University, and it's a steal because it's like 8 sessions and 2 hours each for 550, but you've got 2 clinical psychologists each week, and it's all about intolerance of uncertainty, which is one of the big predictor areas for anxiety and autism. So lots of evidence-based stuff in that area, and we've got some great sensory packages as well from Hannah Monroe, one of our OTs, and our play therapy as well. So it's all about having more of that support as well around, because it's not just about the assessment, it's about people's lives and how they manage and deal with their lives afterwards. Lots. I'm a clinical psychologist. Now I would probably say I'm becoming a social entrepreneur, but this is new to me. And from the minute I contacted Steve, and also when I attended the Social Edinburgh, the Social Enterprise Network Awards, everyone just made me feel so welcome. And ESEN especially, helping me realise the different things that I might want to consider, but also just welcoming me to the community, and just being really supportive. It was only the other week that, in relation to funding or helping spread the word with what we're trying to do, there's regular updates or just helping us out and seeing if there's any scaffolding that you guys can provide us, which has made things easier. I mean, it's hard starting off a social enterprise, but it's easier knowing you've got supportive people around you. So you wouldn't know it from my accent, but I've actually been here, I think 15 years, but then you start losing track. It could be 17. And I used to live in London, and I remember the first time I stepped off the train visiting an old school friend of mine, and it was Christmas time, and it was when they had the ice skate rink at the bottom of Princess Street Gardens. And I just loved Edinburgh at Christmas. It was absolutely beautiful. And from then on, I was like, no, I'm not staying in London. I'll be coming to Edinburgh. And it's just such a different quality of life. Like, I can't imagine being anywhere else now, So definitely I love Christmas time. Definitely I love all of the hills, going for walks, but also the fact that, this is going to sound silly, but it's small enough to bump into the people that you want to, but large enough to not be on top of the people that you don't, It's that sort of small city mentality, I suppose. I think the most important thing is getting the word out, and I think that's the most challenging part. We're definitely getting there. I think people are starting to use our services. We're getting lots more referrals, and word's getting out that we're a good place to come and get these sorts of services, but it is difficult getting the word out. So I suppose it's everybody telling their friends and family that there are these offerings and that it is something so new to the landscape, and if people don't get behind us, it's not going to work. So there's just that want and hope that as a community, people will want to come here because they know it's good services and they know it's high quality, but that also they know it's going to help other people in their community. And it's just banking on the fact that that word will get out. So I suppose that's one of the main things, and also just letting everybody know. So we've got some great offerings for parents of autistic children. We're starting groups. We've got a lovely group room. That's actually online, but just letting people know that there are these sorts of groups happening, and training and consultancy. If you're a business owner and you're thinking, oh gosh, it's all getting a bit much, I could do with a psychologist. That's the sort of input that we provide and the difference that we make in relation to staff well-being, and the clients that you see are well worth, whatever you have to shed out. So, yeah, I suppose getting behind us. Yeah, I suppose for us it would just be great to see more social enterprises in the area of mental health treatment, because it would change the landscape. But I think it's that scaffolding around, certainly in relation to funding in the early days, really appreciative of those that have come forward and said, well, actually, you'd be eligible for that, just while you're getting started, certainly. But otherwise, it would be lovely to be able to have accountants or the legal fees, and getting to grips with planning. I think one of the ideas that I had was it would be lovely, planning took a while to come through, and it would be lovely to see social enterprises getting a bit of a priority in those waiting queues, because actually the longer you wait and you're starting up, the harder it is for a social enterprise to succeed. So I wonder if it's about having some of those different offerings, hopefully at a cheaper rate for social enterprises than the current, but also about, I think, council and government frameworks doing everything they can to support the growth of social enterprises, like meaning that you don't go to the end of some of the wait lists that normal businesses do, because you're doing good for the community. I am really excited about our neurodiversity offerings, assessments and the quality of those, but the other bits that we're starting to do. I'm really excited about the Q's group and getting that up and running, and I'm really excited to start seeing more groups in this room because it's an amazing building. Like, we've spent so much time and effort into making sure it's such a calm environment for people to come into. It's so well thought out. But I think when I see this group room being used more, I think I'm going to feel a real sense of satisfaction. But the big one is going to be when we've already started working with our charity partners. We've already had some sessions with Multicultural Family Base. I'm really excited that Crew 2000 are going to come and start using our building as of the 1st of April to see people. And then the more and more and more that grows with that relationship, seeing the benefit that having us as a partner for these charities and what that's going to bring to them and what it's going to bring to staff, but mainly clients, that's what I'm really excited about. I think that's when it's all really going to hit, I suppose, and think, actually, yeah, we've done good. So Sure Psychology is all about bridging the gap. And it seems like a fit-in kind of statement for us, really. One, because we're on the water at Leith and we've got a lovely bridge outside. But two, it is all about changing the landscape, and something needs to be done that's a bit different. And sort of plugging that gap and making sure that we are 100% giving the best offerings that we can, that people know that if they come here and they pay privately, they are going to get fantastic psychological therapies, other associated therapies, neurodiversity assessments, but that also that surplus that is generated is going to go into the community for those that aren't able to do that.